What is up, guys? RGT85 here, and today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Now, I'm playing this on the Xbox One. I did get a review copy sent over from Activision, so big shout outs to Activision for allowing me to check out this game. Now, I have been playing this game for a couple days now. I'm over 50% complete with the first Spyro game. I did check out the other two games included in this trilogy, Spyro 2 and 3, just to make sure they were running right. But I figured, you know, with the Thanksgiving coming up and things like that, I have a lot on my plate right now. So I probably wouldn't be able to do a full-on review of this game, but I did want to give you guys my impressions of it and sort of show you guys what this game is all about. Now, of course, the Spyro series was a very popular series back on the PS1. I remember renting the first Spyro game quite often from my local video game store. I don't really think I played much of the other two, so most of my nostalgia for the series really ties into the first game, and so that's what I pretty much wanted to focus my efforts on. Now, of course, this is the second trilogy remastered that we have seen from Activision lately, the first, of course, being the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, but this one definitely is something I feel a bit more special. I love the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, the Insane trilogy. I thought it was really well done, but this, you could tell, is more of a labor of love. Like, they really built this from the ground up, and yes, it's still very close to the original source material as far as, you know, what you're trying to accomplish and things like that, but I mean, you just look at the graphics. Like, this game is absolutely gorgeous. Now, Spyro is, of course, a 3D platforming game where you basically are just trying to do different things. It's a collect-a-thon style game. So if you've played, you know, PS1, 3D platformers and N64 3D platformers, you sort of know what you're getting into. You sort of know what to expect when it comes to these games. You're doing a bunch of different collecting of things. So let me show you guys the guidebook here for me. So basically there are, you know, gems you can acquire in the levels, there are dragons you have to find, and there are eggs you have to find. Now, in order to get into subsequent levels, there is a guy who basically takes you from place to place, but you have to meet his requirements. So you might have to go back and get more dragons or more eggs or things like that in order to advance to the next section. And I actually like that a lot about these games because it sort of lets you go back. You know, it rewards you for exploring more. Like, you have to go back to the levels and find different paths and things like that in order to sort of progress to get to these, you know, deeper levels and deeper areas within the game. And so I like that. I think that's pretty fun. It's a good mechanic that it still feels fresh and it still feels good, I feel. But yeah, you can see, like, this game is just beautiful. Like, I just love looking at the game. Like, it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. All done in Unreal 4, you can definitely tell. I will be curious to see if this does end up coming to the Nintendo Switch. There is that rumor that it's coming to the Switch, but I don't know. Like, this graphics engine seems pretty robust. Now, of course, they could always scale it down. So here is a dragon. I actually just had to collect 50 dragons in order to access this area. So I've been pretty much going back through levels and trying to find dragons and things like that. All of the dragons have been turned to stone, and you have to basically save them in order to, you know, it's one of the main plots of the game. Okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to go there. Thankfully, the game isn't very difficult. I actually saw, I don't know if it was a joke or something, but I saw someone put a thing up about that. A reviewer said that the difficulty ramps up to an almost Dark Souls-like level, and I just wanted to be like, okay, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Another thing I really like about the game is the audio presentation in it as well. The voice acting is fine, you know, it's more minimal in the first game as opposed to Spyro 2 and 3. There's definitely a lot more dialogue and kind of unnecessary chatter in those games, but the voice acting is fine. But I really like what they did with the music. It's very 90s, you know, sort of aesthetic that you would expect to hear in a classic platforming game, but it sounds modern enough to make it something really cool. I like just the instruments that they use and the bass levels and things like that. Really good stuff. I'm just gonna pick some random levels here to show you guys different things, how the game works and stuff like that. So we'll just go into this area here. I will say the load times are a little bit long. It's nothing like super bad or anything. You can actually control Spyro in this area here. We'll talk about the different attacks that you have and different things that you have at your disposal as far as controlling Spyro. But yeah, like, the loading times feel a little bit long sometimes. I don't know, maybe I'm just impatient and I want to get back into the game, but this does seem like, you know, it takes a little bit. I understand that there's a lot going on within the levels though, so, you know, not a huge deal, but I guess I just wanted to mention that really briefly. I love the song in this level. Super good. But so basically with Spyro, you have your fire attack and you have a charge attack, and I should have hit him with the fire attack there. And basically there's different enemies that will react differently. So like this dude here, you can't take him out with a fire attack because he obviously has on some armor, so you gotta charge him. And then some guys you gotta hit with a fire attack because the charge won't do anything. So those are your two basic attacks that you have in the game. It's pretty much what you will be doing, you know, running through people, burning people. Oh, come on, he didn't even hit me. But those are your main attacks. That's how you play the game. That's what you do within the game. And there's also a dodge mechanism that you can do as well. I'll show you guys it's sort of a barrel roll that you could do with Spyro to sort of make him avoid situations like that, you know, where there's projectile attacks. Because as the game advances, there's more and more projectile attacks that are coming at you. The platforming does get trickier. Definitely not Dark Souls level or anything close to that, but you know, it does get a little bit trickier as you get through the game. You can also glide when you jump. So I'll try to get to a high peak area and do some gliding action. Why am I playing so bad? All right, let's take these dudes out. Well, I can just do it right here after I take this guy out. So you can jump and glide, and that's sort of how you get to areas that maybe you didn't think you could get to. There's also ramps in the area. Not really ramps, but they're like arrows, and they allow you to get a big charge so that you could jump across a large gap at a single time and get to, you know, different areas within the levels and things like that. So, you know, it's definitely a classic 3D platformer. And it's definitely, you know, nothing super crazy or super new, but I think they did a really good job with it. If I have to give some complaints, I will say that the controls can feel a bit slippery at times. There are times where I feel like, you know, Spyro controls maybe a touch loose at times. I don't know if I'm just trying to get used to it, but I mean, I've been playing this game for a little while now, you know, several hours. So I feel like I would have gotten used to the slipperiness if that was by design. I don't know. It just, sometimes he gets a little, maybe it's just a little too fast, like maybe Sonic-esque or something like that. But it's definitely a bit noticeable. It doesn't, you know, really hinder anything. You just have to be more careful in certain areas. But I did want to notice that. And there's a couple minor quirks I have. According to SpawnWave, this game was supposed to be Xbox One X enhanced, and he did not see any Xbox One enhancements when he played it. And one thing that's weird is there's no subtitles. I like to have subtitles on because sometimes I play my games sort of in a quiet manner. But yeah, no subtitle support. I don't know, it just feels a little lacking and stuff like that. I think it would have been cool to have, you know, some old Spyro sort of materials in the game as well, like maybe like old manuals and things like that. But, you know, at a $40 price point, you can't really complain too much. You're getting 3 built from the ground up Spyro games, the 3 best Spyro games. I mean, Spyro was like Crash Bandicoot. Games kept coming out after the initial trilogy. It's just they weren't very good games, and so a lot of people tended to ignore those games, and it's definitely reasonable as to why. But I definitely feel like this is a great, you know, either reintroduction to the Spyro series. You know, maybe it's something that you played a little bit when you were younger, someone like me who just, you know, focused on the first one and didn't really play the other games. It's definitely a great way to check out those games. It's definitely great for newcomers as well, because there's definitely enough, you know, modern touches in this game. Like I said, it looks just absolutely gorgeous. I just love the world that you're playing in here, and I feel like even veterans will have a great time with it, you know, because it's kind of like one of those things where when you play video games as a kid, you sort of get this image of the game in your head, you know, like back in the day, like Super Mario 64 looked like this HD game. And of course, if you play it nowadays, it's definitely not an HD game, you know, it's that classic N64 blur and things like that. But this is sort of like playing those games as a kid again, because it has that HD polish. It probably looks better than you imagined when you were playing it as a kid, and it still plays really well, you know. Like I said, the controls can be a bit slippery at times, but for the most part, it's a super great game. I definitely recommend it. You're getting 3 games for $40. Really well done stuff. So yeah, once again, I want to thank Activision for sending over a review copy of this game. I'm definitely going to be playing this game a lot more. I have to explore the second and third game. Like I said, I did check them out because there was that whole worry that there was something going on with those versions because of the fact that The game was delayed, of course. Now, if you do get a physical copy of this game, it is not the complete game. You still have to do a download. So the delay of the game was pretty much just to finish up Spyro 3, which is what a lot of people are saying. But the game does run fine and looks fine, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys my impressions on this game. Let me know in the comments section down below if you plan on picking it up or if you've already picked it up. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.